Well, it is a situation that no one wants to find themselves in, but we wouldn't have attorneys specialize in it if it didn't happen to someone out there.
So that's why we are talking about getting pulled over for a DUI, and Joe St. Louis is here to talk to us more about this. We want to kind of know our rights. We want to know kind of like the things to know prior to something happening to us. And I think a lot of questions are just kind of common general questions that we have, even starting out with kind of how reliable are like field sobriety tests.
Well, field sobriety tests are really subjective. I mean, you take somebody out there, it's maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, you put them on the side of a road, you have them stand on 1 foot for 30 seconds. The idea behind them is that if you make more than one mistake, it's got to be due to alcohol. And some of us are just klutzes. Some of us can't do that at any time. So there are some real issues with, how you interpret them and what they mean.
So it seems like you could potentially challenge one of those field sobriety tests. What about breathalyzers? So if I take a breathalyzer and I come up, at a certain percentage, can I challenge that later?
Well, you can. Breathalyzers they're a good sort of initial tool for determining someone's alcohol concentration, but there's a whole lot of factors that go into it. How you breathe into the instrument, if you hyperventilate or hyperventilate, if you pant or hold your breath, can change the reading 15 to 20%. Your core body temperature can change the temperature. How God made you, how your body converts alcohol from your bloodstream to your breath can really change your alcohol reading.
That percentage is a lot that can be changed in there.
If you put it all together, it's about 34%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have heard, and this may be a myth, that you can refuse to take the breathalyzer and require them to do a blood test instead. Is that something we shouldn't do? How is the blood test? Is that an issue?
Now that's something that a lot of people have heard because
Yes.
that's true in other states, but it's actually not true in Arizona.
Really?
In Arizona, it's the officer's choice whether he's going to do a breath test or whether he's going to do a blood test. We have some police agencies that do nothing but breath. We have others that do nothing but blood. And we have a lot of people who are, for example, afraid of needles.
Not true.
And it's a really big deal to them if someone's drawing their blood. They would much rather do a breath test, but they have no choice in the matter.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's interesting. I did not know that either. Now, I know we're talking about DUIs, but there's also something called drugged driving.
Yes.
So are you seeing that those cases are kind of becoming more frequent?
Well, yes. So, for example, you could have prescription drug cases, and we have a law that says if you have a prescription drug or its metabolite, when it breaks down into something else, if you have that in your system while you're driving and you're not using it as prescribed, then that's a crime. Now, when I say as prescribed, maybe you're prescribed Valium, so you take it when you go to bed. You'll have the metabolite in your system the next morning if they found it there. If you have the prescription, you're using it the way the doctor suggests, that's a defense. If you don't, it's not. Simply having it in your system is a crime.
And that is a situation a lot of people can find themselves in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's pretty common. Like you said, we would take something at night before bed and then get up in the morning to maybe take the kids to school or whatever the case may be. But we also, just during the commercial break, out of our own kind of curiosity, a lot of things hit headlines and things like that, one of them being medical marijuana. And
Yes.
we wondered how that played into that same scenario.
So a lot of people get a recommendation from a naturalist to get marijuana, to use marijuana for medical purposes. And, it sort of runs the gamut from people who want to do it for fun to people who are in serious pain, and the only way they can keep food down is to use marijuana. It's hotly debated in our courts right now what that means, whether you need an actual prescription, which right now you can't get because doctors won't prescribe marijuana because of federal practice, and what it means to have it in your system. There's a case that says an inactive metabolite, if you have it where it's broken down to a point where there's nothing affecting you, that's not a crime. Okay. But if you have some other breakdown products of marijuana and you have a recommendation from a naturalist, that you may not be out of the woods. You can still face a DUI for that.
Oh, man. Well, Joe, this is why we bring you on, because you really know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about with the drugged situation and also DUIs, so much so that you were actually asked to teach the science of DUIs to prosecutors. Is that right?
It's kind of a first for me. I've been doing it 28 years. I got an invitation to go out to Texas and teach a group of prosecutors the science behind DUIs. I think we're going to focus on blood testing when I'm out there, but it's 2 days, and I understand there's going to be a couple hundred prosecutors.
Wow. Well, and I want to also congratulate you. The National Association of Criminal Defense Attorneys has listed you as the top 10 speakers. So congratulations, and very well deserved.
Thanks. That was actually pretty cool. NACDL has about 250 presentations a year they do around the country, and at the end of the year, I didn't know this, at the end of the year they come out with a list of their top 10 highest rated speakers. I made the list, so
Wow.
it was exciting. It was a lot of fun.
Very exciting. And
Lucky to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. And we hope our viewers don't need your services, but we want to make sure they have your information in case they do, Joe. So I'm going to give them that right now. And thank you again for visiting.
Thank you so much.
And to learn more about the Nesci and St Louis law firm, including free consultations for any DUI or criminal case, you can call 622-1222 or log on to azdefense.com.